A show that started as controversial and unfavorable by those in the fashion industry, Project Runway changed the direction of reality TV and people's perception of the fashion industry. The show is one of the first reality shows that did not focus on the drama of people cheating, fighting, or being humiliated, but focused on the creative process and the tiring hard work that comes with making a garment. It showed that fashion is not all glamour, but can be gritty and dirty, and sometimes you have to
just make it work.
Project Runway took down the red rope between the seemingly glamorous and exclusive fashion world and let ordinary people see what it was really about. Artists hard at work. I was one of those ordinary people at just 5 years old, sitting on my couch next to my mom being exposed to the workings of the fashion world for the first time.
We used to come down here in the morning before school started, and I'd make some eggs, I'd make myself a cup of coffee, and then we'd watch Project Runway that we taped the night before. And this is how we started off our 1 day a week together, bonding and watching Project Runway. She would get so excited about it where she would even critique like what design she liked more than the other. And what was most interesting is that you would see them stress out and see how hard it was to come up with a design in 24 or 48 hours, and sometimes having to start over again or getting critiqued by Tim Gunn and hearing good things and bad things. And it just got her more excited. She wanted to do it. She wanted to come up with her own designs. And she would think of a challenge and what would she do with that type of challenge. So she would at first do, some rudimentary sketches, on plain paper, but then she would get her fashion angels for Christmas, where at least would have an outline, and she would spend hours just sketching. She was only 5 years old. 5 years old, and knowing at that age that's what she wanted to do. Seeing how they had to work to the bitter end and getting a project out, it's one of the things I also feel really stuck with her, that you couldn't wait till the last minute. You really had to work hard and put in the work and put in the time. And then as she got older, she would then want to do a business where she learned how to make neckties, and she learned how to make sundresses, and actually opened a booth at our local street fair selling different items of her own creations. Then past that, focusing on her art, when it came time to doing her portfolio, it was just nonstop. If something wasn't right, she kept going at it until she perfected it and made it right for her portfolio submissions. She had to do dress construction and design and the portfolio artwork itself. And she didn't do it completely. She would make sure she would even get input from people that knew what they were doing, and then she would choose to take advice or not, and still be able to very much find her own voice. The thing with Project Runway, and the most successful of those designers that I think really stuck with her, is that not only did they hard work and listen to the critique, but a lot of those designers ended up still having very much their own voice, and that's Erin. Erin has her voice.
The show greatly inspired me to pursue fashion, but how did it impact other fashion students? I took to Parsons School of Design, the very place the show started, and the school I now attend, to find out.
First experience with Project Runway was when I was little, and I would sit in my basement and I would do little design projects, and it was super fun. But then as I got older, it was one of the true influences that made me decide to apply to Parsons and just being in a creative environment.
I was kind of set in stone from a young age that that's what I wanted to do. But then I watched Project Runway, of course, because I was interested in it. And that's where I first heard about Parsons. And that caused me to research Parsons and become more interested in it.
One of the seasons had a challenge where you use candy to make a outfit. That the material wise, it inspired me, because that's when I realized that fashion, there's no limit on the material that you use.
I think the draw of the city, in addition to just a group that was all working together towards the same goal, was just really encouraging, and it made me realize that a job that may be difficult to attain was still possible.
I'm not alone. Every fashion student I've met who has watched the show seems to have been impacted by it, whether it was big or small. Project Runway was much more than just a reality show to the next generation of fashion designers. It was a spark.